Good morning. Welcome back to the episodes on Groundwork in the fall of 2017. And I'm going to point out some easy ways of displaying your model. As we talked about last time, it's not a very common thing here in North America, I don't think, based on the amount of shows I've gone to. But you know what? Just gentlemen and ladies, your models are, you want to make a nice presentation for your models. So Barbakan, which is a company that makes streets and a series of little wall sets, is an easy way to get around displaying your model. And Barbakan is a company produced in Canada. It's available at Hornet Hobbies. Inexpensive, very high quality hydrocal product. So it's porous, but not too porous. You're not gonna apply paint to this and have it suck in all day and suddenly tomorrow morning have this sort of an off gray color. The hydrocal bonds fantastic in these products. So holding on to a color, and mostly I paint it with acrylics, and it doesn't absorb into the hydrocal that much. So if you put a true brown on there, when it's dry, it's gonna remain the color you painted it. It's not, in other words, it's not gonna suck in. It's a very good, strong hydrocal. So Barbakan is a company, and they make I think 6 or 7 different roads, and they make 6 or 7 different pieces of wall, and they're all work together. All the scale of the brick is the same, and the tops are the same, so you can use them and interchange them all over the place. So it's not like it's like Armand Bayardi is another great company out of the United States, and they have a little more volume in their collection. But Armand Bayardi doesn't necessarily. I don't think Armand makes roads, but Armand Bayardi certainly makes a lot of stone walls that are interchangeable as well. But there's about 4 or 5 different series, ruined and without the chipping and ruining from the combats. So those 2 companies are the ones that I go to, mostly because they're either American made or Canadian made. I'm sure those of you watching from a different land, you have your local bricks and rocks and stones from your local guys too. Now back to the models themselves. This is a 35th scale Panther tank. You can put together the street scene, paint it. Probably going to take you an evening, and then the following morning you have a beautiful place to display your Panther tank. So the one that I'm doing with Dave and his Sherman, Dave Forrest, we're going to go into great detail on groundwork, some bushes and trees, and cutting up of the street. Again, a Barbakan product, just cut on a different angle, and we're just going to change that up a little bit, but still, there's going to be no figures on the product itself. We're just going to make it a little more interesting. But for starters, I just want to show you how easy it is to make a base. If you purchase a Barbakan or a street scene somewhere, in other words, a street platform for your tank, to display it, you can go get these little shadow boxes, which are just purchased at the Dollarama. I believe they're around $2, 3 tops, and you can use the lids as one base, and you can also use the bottoms as a base. So as you can see here, they're all stained the same color with the Minwax. This product you can buy at your local hardware store, probably worldwide. Certainly here in North America, you can get it at Home Depot. But anyway, just stain that up. It's an enamel based thing. You can clean it with thinners, clean your paintbrushes with thinners, and just pick your color. And if you're doing, say for instance, an Italian theme, keep all your Italian bases maybe one color, and maybe if you want your Normandy ones brown and your Pacific War, pick a third color, just so that it's uniform in your showcase. It'll look great. So how do you change this box into a little base? Well, it's quite simple. Just take your road. Fortunately, and just by luck more than anything, these Barbakan roads fit exactly into these boxes. So now, when I say exact, these are made by the millions, I would imagine, and they're not 100% fitting these. The tolerances are a little off sometimes. Sometimes they fit exact, but then just take 200 sandpaper and sand the edges of the road to fit the box. And then put a little lip around, obviously to hold this because this has some weight. Just put a little either evergreen plastic or a little piece of wood. Draw a little line around just south of the depth of the road itself, and then just drop it in. And as you can see, these fit perfectly. And the road matches the height of the box all the way around. Don't recess it. In other words, don't recess your road and put it on a base like this and have the road down in here. You don't want a dam here, and it looks silly, and your tank has to go up and over if it was moving along here. So, not that we have RC tanks in 35th scale and we're worried about the lip on this, but it just doesn't look right. It doesn't flow properly. So always bring the road up to match the height of your frame. And again, this, as I spoke last time, this is just a frame from IKEA or Walmart, one or the other. And they're obviously all uniform sizes. There's probably 5 sizes to choose from based on your diorama. Buy the appropriate base. And sometimes these stores, as you guys know, have the frames on sale. Buy 3 or 4 at the same time. Just because as products change in those stores, you may want to have a little collection of say Pacific Theater War tanks, a Sherman, a Stuart, and a Japanese tank, and you want them all on the same frame, so buy them all at the same time. Like I say, you could go back 6 months from now and you'll find that that frame is no longer available. So buy them when you see them. They're not expensive, $10 probably, but the gem here from the Dollarama store is that these are probably maximum $3, and you have 2 immediately. You have 2 frames and display cases for your tanks. Now sometimes, again, they make these by the million. Sometimes they're not 100% once the glue sets, and there's a little bow in the frame. Just put a little piece of wood across, and then just take that little bow out of there. You can see it on this one right here. All this side here, but just put a piece of wood in between and squeeze that out a little bit. Perfect for what we do. Now, like I say, sometimes you're going to have to cut this. It's terrific hydrocal that these are made out of. So you're going to have to cut them not by snapping. There's no utility knife once or twice through and then snapping isn't going to work. You're going to have to actually take an X-Acto saw or a Pro Edge or XL proper saw and cut through about 2/3 of the way through of your now I've cut this a certain way to fit a certain piece here in the diorama, which I'll get into at length in a minute, but cut this about 2/3 of the way through, and then you can snap it with your hand. But don't try to cheat. It's only going to take you 10 strokes with this. If you go less than that, you're going to snap it, and then you're going to catch a corner of this, and there's going to be a chip out of the corner. So don't, do it properly the first time. Now, what we're going to do this morning is we're going to get to Dave's base for his Sherman tank in the Normandy setting. And one of the things I've done is just take color paper. I use color paper more or less just for the filming of this video, but you can use white paper, of course, but it's just easier to see. And I cut the paper exactly the same size as on my frame. See, it fits in perfect. And then take a Sherman tank, and because this is going to be a setting for a Sherman, you have to have a Sherman tank. Maybe from the maybe from your from a Sherman tank that you've built, a couple of years ago, and you've given up on it or what have you. But just for sizing, so this is exactly the same Sherman that Dave is building. It's the Tamiya Sherman. Now, I'm just going to turn this around for you guys to see. It's going to sit something like that. And like I say, this is just a little vignette with no figures in it whatsoever. But it's suddenly an interesting base for your model to sit on your glass shelf at home. It's by using just a few wall sets from Barbakan and or Armand Bayardi, a little wall set or a little road set from again this company here, and in 5 minutes I have an interesting base for a Sherman tank in Normandy. Now I say Normandy, this could be probably Italy or anywhere in the probably European theater of war. So it doesn't take a lot of effort. It's taken me 5 minutes to put this together. It's one of the other things is you can put these together in such a way, different angles, that isn't as interesting as the way it was. But you can buy a little from Aber, little wrought iron gates, and sometimes they'll determine the width that you're going to have these two posts apart. I'm going to make a little wooden gate, so I'm not held to any size. I'll just cut the slats until they fit. And then what I'm going to do is, in our next episode, is show how to make the groundwork. I obviously have a little build up to do here, just with the plaster. But suddenly, as you guys can see, it's a much more interesting setting for your tank than say just plopping it on a shelf like so. So if you have your Sherman on your base like so, it's just not as interesting, but it's fine. At least it's on some sort of base, as opposed to just sitting on a tablecloth or a piece of glass. So, and again, most of us are constructing these vehicles and they're beautiful. We also have to make the groundwork the same. If this is off to win a silver medal at some show, your groundwork better match the silver medal effort that your Sherman tank has, or Panther, or whatever. If you're relaxed on this sort of thing and you don't put the effort in, it's reflective, and your tank deserves better. So do a great job on your groundwork. It's not going to take you any more time. It's going to take you, I would say 3 or 4 days to finish a nice base. And the tank you've just spent 2 months on fits right in. if you spend 3 hours on a base, it's going to be reflective as well. So pull up our socks, do it properly, and you know what I mean? It's just a better display model. It's going to be in your home for the next 10 years, so let's do it properly the first time. Alrighty, thank you so much, and we'll talk shortly.